But thank you all so much for joining us today for this very special edition of our book club show. I'm just going to do some quick introductions and then we'll get started. But to start off, I'm so happy to introduce Janine Turner, who is our amazing co-founder. And we're so happy she stepped away from filming her movie to come be here with us tonight. That shows her dedication, does it not? So she is famous for her role as Maggie O'Connell in television's Northern Exposure, but is also just a really well-known actress who's in so many amazing things and is continuing to create. She is the founder and co-president of Constituting America, which she launched in 2010 with Kathy. And she's still acting, of course, but she's also actively teaching kids about the US Constitution and has given over 540 speeches to classrooms across the country. That number doesn't even, like, how is that even possible? That is just amazing. So Janine, would you like to say hi?
Thank you, Tova, for that wonderful introduction. Hello, everyone. I'm thrilled to be with you tonight, even if it's just my voice. But these book clubs are always a joy, primarily to get to watch, well, one of the reasons is to watch you, Tova, be in charge. And we have Dacari with us today and a wonderful author and book with Gigi. We're very excited, Gigi McBride. So I look forward to the evening. We're going to have a wonderful time. And I thank all of those in the audience for joining us.
Thank you, Janine. We're so happy to have you as always. And now I'd love to introduce Kathy Gillespie, who is the co-president of Constituting America and is one of the only 16 private citizens serving on the U.S. Semi-Quincentennial Commission, helping to organize our country's 250th birthday in 2026. And I mean, she does so many other things as well. But we're so happy to have her and so blessed by her leadership. Kathy, would you like to say hi?
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I'm just really excited to delve into this book that Gigi wrote, and have known Gigi for a long time. And of course, her mom, Anita McBride, is a great friend. And Anita's actually very involved in the Semi-Quincentennial Commission as well. And so, Gigi, we're so happy to have you. And I wanted to just give a word real quick. If Aubry could bring up how people buy the book. If you want to buy the book, you can go to the White House Historical Association. Just Google White House Historical Association and Gigi at the White House, and it'll come right up. And the great thing about this, one of the great things about this book, besides it just being a wonderful book, is that all sales of the book benefit the White House Historical Association, which is a wonderful organization. And they preserve the history of the White House. And you can also order the book online at Amazon.com. So please consider getting a copy and helping the White House Historical Association.
Thank you, Kathy. Yeah, everybody check it out. It's for a great cause. And so now I'm just going to briefly introduce myself. I'm 17 years old. I'm a rising senior in high school, which is kind of mind-blowing to me. I live in Chicago, Illinois, and I'm the National Youth Director for Constituting America, and I run the National Youth Advisory Council. I've won our We the Future Scholarship Contest 3 times in the entrepreneurial category for a marketing plan I created, in the PSA category, and in the STEM category where I created an app. And so I'm just always so happy and honored to be here. And now I would love to introduce Dacari Chapman, who is our amazing Constituting America student ambassador. We're lucky to have him because now he's become such a sought after actor that, you know, he's always filming things. So it's a gift to have him here when we can get him. So he's 18 years old and he's currently a senior full-time college student in South Carolina. He's won Constituting America's We the Future contest twice, once for Best PSA, where he reminded viewers that the Constitution is an American thing, so know it. And another time for his short film, Man on the Street. He's actively involved in our National Youth Advisory Board, and he's a working actor. He's been seen in HBO's The Righteous Gemstones and in Netflix's Outer Banks. That just came out last April. And Dacari wishes to be an actor, but also a politician. But he says that you must be an actor to be a politician, which is wise words. So Dacari, would you like to say hi?
Hi, everyone. I'm really glad to be here. And fun news, Outer Banks Season 2 comes out tonight. So be on the lookout. Season 2, I'm there tonight. But yes, I'm really excited to be here. This book is so cute. I love like elementary books. Like I'm fine with all the upper grades, like all the other things we do, but the like elementary like books and all the illustrations are so cute. So I'm glad to bring this to you guys. And we thank Gigi for being here and doing all that she does. So I'm super excited.
Wow, thank you, Dacari, and congrats on your uh, premiere of the second season. That's so exciting. Everybody check it out. And so I'd just like to briefly introduce as well Aubry Jackman, who is our team's media director and is responsible for all the amazing technology that runs so smoothly. Aubry is this year's We the Future Best College STEM winner. And she was born and raised in Utah and is in the middle of 7 children. I don't know how you do it. I'm the oldest of 3, and that's good enough for me. She's a student at Brigham Young University and aspires to be an athletic coach. Aubry, would you like to say hi?
Yes, thank you for that introduction, Tova. I love being with Constituting America, and these book clubs are always great. And I'm just going to put in a little plug for everyone here today that we also do podcasts every Tuesday. So you can tune into that at 2 p.m. Eastern each Tuesday.
Yes, please do. They're great for all ages, parents and students. And now it's my honor to introduce Gigi McBride, who's born and raised in Washington, D.C. She's the author of this amazing book. She often visited her mother, Anita McBride, at the White House when she was ages 4 to 8 years old. And her mom, Anita McBride, served as chief of staff to First Lady Laura Bush from 2004 to 2009, where many memories from this book were captured. Gigi attended high school at Connolly School of the Holy Child in Potomac, Maryland, and she is currently studying education at Texas Christian University in Fort Worth, Texas. And we are just so happy to have her on today to share her amazing work. Would you like to say hi, Gigi?
Yes, hi all. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited and honored to be here. You have such an amazing organization, so I'm just really lucky to be here. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And now I will pass it over to Dacari, who is going to actually read the book for us.
This is like my favorite thing to do, y'all. You don't even understand. So yes, this book is amazing. If you follow us on Facebook, you probably saw like my promo video that I make. They're like so fun to make. Anyways, so this is Gigi's amazing book, Gigi at the White House. I'm sorry, the green screen kind of messes it up, but here it is, Gigi at the White House. Beautiful illustrations. The cover just like makes any kid want to know what's happening, like where's she going in that door. So yeah, Gigi at the White House by Giovanna McBride and illustrated by John Hutton. Awesome. And then on the inside, this was like my favorite thing. There's like all these cool sketches of every president. They're like almost, they're cute, but they're also kind of funny too. Like the sketches, they're cute. Awesome. So Gigi at the White House. So I'm going to read the introduction. Many children have at least one special opportunity to visit their parents at work. Some parents work in offices, others work in restaurants or stores or hospitals, or even outside in parks and gardens. There are thousands of possibilities, but wherever the day is spent, going to work with mom or dad creates wonderful memories. Gigi McBride's mother had a very unique job. She worked at the White House, the home and office of the President of the United States. Gigi began visiting her mother at the White House in 2001 when she was just a few months old. Now that she's grown up, she wanted to share those memories with you. This book is full of her favorite stories about all the fun she had and the friends she made exploring the White House between the ages of 4 and 8 from 2005 to 2009. I hope you'll be able to visit the White House too and see some of the wonderful people and places that Gigi remembers. And that was by Stuart D. McLaurin. He's the president of the White House Historical Association. And then it starts with a lovely sketch of Gigi outside the White House. There you go. And it reads, when I was a little girl, my mom worked for First Lady Laura Bush in the White House. Sometimes I would visit. Once after a fun sleepover, Mrs. Bush invited me to eat breakfast with her. Watching the tourists from the kitchen window, she asked what my favorite memories were. Let me tell you about my favorite things. Has some nice photo of her and First Lady Bush, and then them peeking out the window and seeing all the tourists. My mom's office. Sometimes I sat at my mom's desk and pretended to make very important calls. The Secret Service agents. The agents let me borrow their sunglasses so I could look like them. I don't know about you, but like borrowing a Secret Service agent's glasses, wow, what a dream. Can't believe they even let her do that. You know, they're like super serious, so it's fun. The movie theater. The movie theater has big red velvet chairs and you can eat popcorn. The bowling alley. The ball was heavy, but it was still fun to bowl. Also, it's funny, I was reading this book and I was like, man, the White House has all of these things. The dogs. I got to play with the dogs, Barney and Miss Beasley, in the East Garden. The pool. One hot summer day, I cooled off and splashed around in the pool. There you go. Like I said, lovely, colorful, beautiful illustrations. Summer picnics. I rode merry-go-round horses and real horses at the special picnic for members of Congress. The 4th of July. There is no place more fun than the White House lawn for watching fireworks. The pastry chefs. This is where it gets good. At Christmas, the White House pastry shop is famous for building an entire White House out of gingerbread. In the flower shop, sometimes I helped the florist arrange the beautiful flowers. Also, there's like so many jobs in the White House you get from this book. It's insane. The guests. I met Olympic swimmers, gymnasts, and soccer players, and got to try on a gold medal. Once, I even saw Queen Elizabeth II of England at the White House. I just pictured Gigi, like as a young kid, just strutting around by herself, doing all these things, like whatever she wants to do. Halloween. I went trick-or-treating to all the offices at Halloween. Christmas. And I even visited Santa when he stopped by the Blue Room. Easter Monday. At the Easter egg roll, there was a hunt for the golden egg, face painting, a petting zoo, and the Easter Bunny gave us carrots. The helicopter. One special day, my kindergarten class came to see the president fly away in Marine One. I don't know, the more I read, I see a movie in your future, Gigi. The press room. I needed a stool to see over the podium in the press room. The Oval Office. I thanked President George W. Bush for all the fun times I had at the White House. I told Mrs. Bush that with so many great memories, there could never be just one favorite thing. The First Lady smiled and I said, wow, I'm one lucky girl. Amazing, amazing book. And yes, Gigi is one lucky girl. So that is her amazing book. Everybody needs to go to the White House Historical Association.com, pay $9.95 and buy this book. Thank you.
Thank you, Dacari. Let's all at our houses individually give him a round of applause, even if we can't see you. We know what's happening. He's just that good. And
Yay!
Yes. So that was beautiful, and the illustrations are gorgeous and everything. So great job, Gigi. We're just gonna ask you some questions now. And as audience members, I want to remind you that we like to format this very openly. So please put down any questions or thoughts you have, and we'll be happy to share them. If you have kids with you, encourage them to say their thoughts. kids have an opinion too, and we want to hear it. Or adults, we all want to hear what you have to say. But I was wondering, Gigi, what inspired you to write this book about your experiences?
Yes, well, first of all, Dacari, that was an amazing reading. That was so fun to listen to. I loved that. So my mom, she was the chief of staff for First Lady Laura Bush from 2004 until 2008. And the Bushes really opened up the White House for all of the staff's children. And I was very lucky to be able to go and visit the White House very often and, meet a lot of the staff, meet the Secret Service agents, the pastry chefs, all the people that were working in the White House, and get to do a lot of fun things. And I just have always felt very grateful for those memories. And looking through pictures all of the time, I just really felt the need to share those memories and share how grateful I was and share what a fun place that the White House is. So that's what really inspired me.
Amazing. I guess we don't really think about how much goes on in the day to day, right? Whenever you think about the White House, you think of it as just this powerful building, but there's so much going on. So I was wondering, how did your time being in the White House affect you now, or affect, the direction that your life took?
Yes, well, Mrs. Bush, she, was always very caring and welcoming to all of us children. And she places such like a high deal on children's literacy and learning, and always used to ask us kids what we were learning. And it really taught us to be more interested in education and, all the things that we were reading and learning in school. And so I think the high value on education, I kind of learned from her and was inspired by her. And so I think that has kind of shaped the trajectory for wanting to be a teacher. And I think at such a young age, I maybe didn't realize it then, but, I think that's what also inspired me to write this book, is to, get kids reading and get them exploring and that kind of thing. So I think that kind of shaped me wanting to be a teacher, definitely, and wanting to share things.
Beautiful. And then, so your mom was chief of staff to First Lady Laura Bush. So could you explain to all our viewers what a chief of staff is and what that means?
Yes. So my mom, she was pretty much with Mrs. Bush every day, and she had a staff working as well that was planning the day-to-day activities, all of the events, and that included, speech writers, personal aides, that kind of thing. And they would travel together. Anytime there were events, my mom and the staff would be there as well, to help her and be there for her through those. And so for 4 years, my mom was very much dedicated to Mrs. Bush and her day-to-day life, and, being there for all of those events and that kind of thing. So she had a very, very busy job. She was there and, even got to know the White House much more than I did. I was very exposed to a lot of parts of the White House, but my mom, she was going there every single day and working there and, really learning the ins and outs. And she worked with the president pretty closely as well, making their schedules and getting everything aligned, planning the trips, that kind of thing. So she and her staff were just wonderful and very welcoming to us kids as well. We always got to go to her office, which was always so great. And some of her staff I'm still very close with. So she was very busy. They all were, but she, did a really great job.
Wow, I can imagine what a big job to have, being in charge of all of that. And so I was wondering, when you were little, obviously not many people get to go to the White House, and not many people get to, meet the Queen and spend time with the First Lady. I remember at Constituting America, we got to tour the White House, and it felt like this such hollowed ground, so professional and almost holy. I was like, I'm afraid to even touch anything. It's like a museum. But when you were a kid going there, so I was wondering, when you were a kid, did you have a sense of how important or special your experience was, or did you kind of just feel like, oh, hey, I'm a kid, and treated it like that.
I definitely think it was a mix of both of those things. We always were pretty much dressed up when we went to the White House out of respect for, the president and first lady and all the people that were working there. And like you said, it is a very, very special place. And so I think it was a mix between feeling comfortable there and still understanding how special it was to be able to go and visit. And even though I was going pretty often, like sometimes after school, we would be taken and just go visit my mom at her office just to say hi and then walk around the monuments. So I think even though there was a comfortability there that my brother and I experienced, there was still that sense of, wow, this is very unique, very amazing to be there. And it was always really crazy to me in school. Like I was very young at the time, so it was more towards like 2007, 2008, when we were starting to learn about, United States history and learning about the president and first lady, and knowing that I was going to the White House and getting to see them in action and also learning about it in school. It was always very surreal to me. And I think even though I was young, I've always felt very grateful that I was given those opportunities.
Wow, that's amazing. I bet that definitely spices up your history and civics classes.
Yes.
You can be like, wait, I saw that. It's not just in a textbook.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, so I'm just going to pass it on to Janine. Do you want to ask a few questions and we can just go around and see if anyone else wants to ask?
Sure. Thank you, Tova. Wonderful questions as always. Great questions, I would say. Okay, let's see. We put the picture of, yeah, you'll take it down when I quit asking the questions so we can see Gigi. Yes, Aubry, thank you. Gigi, I love your name, first of all. Are you familiar with the musical Gigi?
I personally am not, but one of my teachers at high school, she always said that I needed to watch it. So I guess I really do need to.
You do. You need to watch it now. They're like Gigi, da 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 da. I can sing some of the songs for you. And I raised my daughter. She's 23 now, about your age, and I was a single mom, and there was always this conflict about working and trying to raise my daughter, and the having to straddle both jobs and worrying about the mental and emotional impact on my child. And you seem to be very well adjusted, to have done really, really well. But I think the mothers in the audience would be interested to hear, because didn't your mother travel with Laura Bush as well? And so you were probably your mom was busy working. So tell me about did she get home late at night? Were you asleep? Did your father take care of you? How did that work? And then when she traveled, I just think it's a little interesting to hear about your perspective as for 4 years, I guess, when she did the job, because a lot of mothers feel guilty, and yet you did so well. Your mother did a wonderful job, obviously. Tell us about what that dynamic was like.
Yes, that's a very great question. And, it's great to be able to talk about that. So what you said, coming home very late at night, my mom's schedule was very crazy. She would get up, at like 6 a.m. And what I always used to do is go and sit in her bathroom as she was getting ready and putting on her makeup. And those would be like the few minutes I would spend with her throughout the day, because being a young child, getting home at, 10 o'clock, I would already be asleep. And so I think I really would appreciate those little moments, those small moments that we would have together. And my brother and I had a nanny throughout that time, because it really wouldn't have been possible as such young kids needing to be taken to school, and with my dad working, a full-time job. So my brother and I became very close with our nanny and her family as well. And when my mom, was traveling, it was definitely, you could notice that absence, because I obviously love my mom, and most kids want their, parents to be home all the time. But I think my parents did a really amazing job of talking to my brother and I and letting us know what amazing experiences this these were. My mom would always send us pictures and bring home postcards and little knickknacks and gifts that always made those trips feel very real. And though it was really hard at some points when I'd be like, oh, I just, wish my mom was here, I think understanding what amazing things she was doing and how hard she was working really helped me to, put it into perspective. Like, this job isn't going to last forever. And I think it also was, very real for me because I was able to go to the White House so often and, get those perks, you know what I mean? And I think it was definitely a balance. My parents had to do a lot of balancing and making things work. But yeah, it was definitely a crazy time, a very busy time. And, but I think over time we sort of got used to it and became very close with my nanny and her family. And they would take us on trips or my nanny would take us on trips to be with her family for, spring breaks or Easter breaks, that kind of thing. So I learned to be very lucky and grateful for the places I was in my life. And maybe if my mom wasn't there, I knew she would be, back in a week or so.
That's wonderful. It reminds me, as you're speaking, my father was a pilot.
Mhm.
And he was a West Point graduate. Back then it was Air Force or Army. And so he was in the Air Force. And then he flew for Braniff International, which your mother probably knows really well, for 25, 30 years.
Wow.
And of course, my father throughout the week was flying and was gone.
Yeah.
So I guess three days a week or so, my father wouldn't be there. And it didn't affect my ability to, looking back, it didn't affect my love or my appreciate, anything. That was a very positive experience. But he would always bring gifts back. And, I've saved all of them. I have a llama that he got on one trip, a beautiful piggy bank from Mexico, a little Hawaiian doll from Hawaii. Those little gifts go far, and
Yes.
I still have them. I have them in a glass case at home. And sometimes he would always bring something though. And sometimes he'd bring little soaps, just soaps from the lavatory in the airplane. And it didn't matter what he brought, and even the soaps I loved because it just meant he was thinking about me. And so his travels enriched my life and the respect I had for the fact that he was working. So I know that was is how you feel about your mom. And the second thing I'll just talk about and I'll turn it over is, have you read Eloise at the Plaza?
Yes, I have. And I've actually heard from people saying, that it's kind of that similar vibe, Gigi at the White House, Eloise at the Plaza, that kind of thing. So yes.
Yeah. So look what you've done. See, you're following in your mother's footsteps, and the fact that all the proceeds go to the White House Historical Association is wonderful. You're being of service, and you're not benefiting from it at all. But yeah, Eloise at the Plaza was a lot of fun. I used to love that book, the way she'd run around the plaza and call for room service. So this reminds me of that book. So I applaud you. Great job. And your parents are just fantastic. And look at the exceptional young woman you are now. And now you're going to go. And I guess Laura Bush had an impact on you as well, because you're going to be an educator the way she was. So it all worked out beautifully, which is great as working parents. It's really great to see this.
Yeah.
Okay, Tova, I'll turn it back over. Thank you. I'll turn it over to Tova.
Thanks. And I loved Eloise at the Plaza. That was like my favorite book growing up. So it makes sense why I'd like this one too. Dacari, do you want to ask any questions?
Sure. First of all, Gigi, I love your book. It's amazing. I love the illustrations. And so going back to your book, I know you spoke about photos that you would always look at. Are these illustrations like photos? Like, did you like show the illustrator, like, these are photos I've had, or I have? And then did you make these illustrations, or were they just kind of like, oh, I did this, like I was in there, that kind of thing?
Yes. So the illustrator, John Hutton, he is amazing. And I really felt like he brought the book to life. All the, pages are so colorful and beautiful. And he really, made everything, all the thoughts and imagination I had in my head so come alive. And really, he made the book. It's beautiful. So a lot of those pictures were, or a lot of the pages were from photographs. But like the first pages, me talking to Mrs. Bush, that wasn't photographed. And so sitting down and talking with him about it, he really captured it beautifully. And there were other tweaks and changes that we made to not have it seem so like picturesque, I guess, or, you know, make it seem too still in a photo. We wanted to make like have people moving and a lot of fun things happening. So we didn't try to make it as still as a photo. But he really brought, you know, all the fun to life in those pages.
That's amazing. My other question would be, so of course your experience there was, I mean, immense. All of these stories that you have in here are probably not even like the bulk of the things that you experienced. So was there any person there? But I mean, of course you've talked about Laura Bush. Was there any like pastry chef or anybody who worked there that was kind of like, you know, like your person, like you would go to them and they'd give you things like, oh, here's like a pastry, or, you know, like just anybody who was like your person.
Yes. Well, the pastry chefs were always so sweet. When my mom would go to events at the White House and my brother and I would be home, they would always send cookies home for us or anything that they had baked. And it was always so sweet, you know, have them thinking about us, you know, knowing that my mom was coming home to kids, and they did that for so many of the staff as well. And so they are such wonderful people. And I think also the people that have really impacted my life were my mom's staff. There were a few people I became very close with, one that I went to her wedding, and others that, since I'm in Texas, a few of them are also in Texas and I've seen throughout the years. And Mrs. Bush, you know, welcomed all of us into the White House, and the staff went even further. They would, you know, make sure we had something fun to do when we would be there. They would, you know, let us play in their office, that kind of thing. So I think along with the pastry chefs and the florist, I'm very grateful for my mom's staff always making us feel at home, and also knowing that my mom had such great people around her was also, you know, peace of mind and so fun. And it was always just wonderful to go and be with them.
Yeah, that's amazing to hear. And I like that you're giving recognition to all those people that, you know, work behind the scenes to make the White House run so smoothly. It's so important. You know, the president is obviously very important, but it's not just them. There's so many people right behind the scenes that make it work. So Kathy, do you have any questions you'd like to ask?
Yes, Gigi, this has been so fun. Thank you so much for being on with us. Speaking of memories that you have, did I read that you spent the night at the White House? And if so, what was that like? Did you stay in the Lincoln bedroom?
Yes, well, I was very lucky to be able to spend the night there. One of Mrs. Bush's personal staff actually had her granddaughter at the White House as well, staying and visiting her. And we both slept on the third floor, which is, there's bedrooms there above, you know, the second floor where the president and first lady sleep, and there's other bedrooms there as well. So, you know, it was kind of like any other, it was a beautiful bedroom, and we fell asleep watching TV. And except for knowing, you know, we were at the White House, it would have felt like any other, you know, fun sleepover, that kind of thing. And then in the morning, I, you know, wandered down to the kitchen. There's a private staircase that goes from the third floor to the second floor that is not really shown to the public, but you know, a way for the president, first lady, and the family, you know, to move around. And Mrs. Bush was in there in the kitchen, and she invited me to come and have breakfast with her. And at that moment, I was just like, this is amazing. And we sat at the breakfast table eating Raisin Bran. I remember, it's still my favorite cereal. And we were looking out at the tourists, and she kept pointing out, and she was like, this is so amazing to see so many people, you know, wanting to come and visit the White House. And yeah, so that was always very special for me.
Yeah. That's a great memory. And we have some listeners who have some questions that we'd love to get to. Rob Poisson asks, when my wife, son, and I visited the White House, we saw statues of people of history. What was your favorite painting of our history in the White House?
That is a great, great question. I think my favorite thing was, I don't have a singular favorite, but seeing all the portraits of the presidents and first ladies was always very surreal to me, because I was thinking this is such a place of rich history that so many people have lived and come through and impacted, how our nation has been run. And I think seeing those portraits was just a reminder to me that for, hundreds of years, we've had like all of these leaders and special people stay at the White House and, run our country. So I think that seeing all of those portraits was always very surreal to me.
And then Vicki Sanders asks, what experience was startling to you? Something you didn't expect? What experience stands out in your mind today, or which person stands out from your time in the White House?
Those are very, very good questions. I think something I didn't expect. I think now more so, I didn't expect to still be so comfortable at the White House. I think I got the opportunity to go back through the White House Historical Association. They were having an art installation with First Lady Melania Trump, and there was a reception in the Rose Garden. And seeing it as, more of an adult and having written this book, I think there was still a sense of comfortability, and the White House didn't feel so big. I guess that may not sound great, but I don't know, being a young child, I think I was just always struck with, the immense size and beauty. But I think going back as an adult, I still am struck with that same, that same awe and wonder. But I think it now more so visiting at it as an adult feels more like a home. And to that point as well, the other startling thing in, when I was at the White House a bunch was being able to see how the president and first lady really make, the White House their personal home, being able to redecorate and having family parties. And, for the Bushes, they had Jenna's engagement party at the White House. So I think, it was very unexpected to see how the president and first lady make their, where they're living a home for them and their children. So I think at that time that was very, unexpected for me.
That had to be really neat to go back as an adult and see everything that you remembered as a child and just see it from the adult perspective.
Yeah.
Now, Rob Poussin also asked, were you able to participate in prayers at the White House, like the National Day of Prayer?
That is a very good question. I'm really sorry. I don't actually know the answer to that. I, know of the National Day of Prayer, but I would have to check that if I had been there. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I'm surprised that you remember as much as you do. And then Beverly Zierle, who is actually one of our teachers who won an award from us for excellence in constitutional teaching. Beverly's on with us tonight. She's a elementary school music teacher and actually uses music to teach her kids about the Constitution, our country's founding. But Beverly writes, I'm an elementary teacher in Texas and definitely need this book for my classroom. Is there any way to get an autographed copy of Gigi in the White House? I love this book.
Oh my God, well, that is amazing. Congrats to you for being a teacher. You're amazing. I would love to autograph a copy for you. Where I'm in Fort Worth, I don't know if where you are in Texas, Beverly, is close, so I could do it in person, or I could, we could connect and you could send me your address and I can send one to you directly.
Yeah, we can definitely help facilitate.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I would love to send you one. That's wonderful.
And then I had one other question. What do you hope children will take away from your book?
Well, I really hope children will learn that the White House is a really fun and special place, but it's also very welcoming. And I know it can be very difficult to see that if you're, don't have the opportunity to visit the White House. But I think even the front cover, I'd always had this, vision of like me opening up the White House to other people, and because it was, opened up to me. And so I think through this book, I just wanted children to see, the behind the scenes, the ins and outs, the things that, so many people didn't know there was a swimming pool, and I wouldn't have known either. And so I think I just wanted other children and people of all ages to, see what a special place the White House is. And, it's considered the people's house, but sometimes I think it's hard for people to feel a connection to the White House, not being able to visit DC or not having the chance to go into the White House. So I think that was the goal with this book, to be able to show people, the White House a little bit more in depth.
Well, you did a great job with it, for sure.
Thank you.
Janine, do you have any other questions?
No, I just think it was terrific. It's what a thrill. I think I did have a thought, but I'm so tired it went out of my head. So it was in regard to what you were just saying. Oh, about the White House. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I think that there'll probably be a lot of young men and women, Gigi, that are going to see that swimming pool and bowling alley and TV room, movie room. They're going to say, "I want to be the president." I can live in a house like that.
Yeah.
So not only did you inspire Americans to really understand what it's about, you've probably inspired a lot of people to run for public office, or to be a teacher, or to be a chief of staff like your mother was. I think that probably it's inspiring to a lot of children to pick politics as their career, and they want to live in the White House where there's a private bowling alley. And swimming pool and movie theater. Sounds good to me. Anyway, great job. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you
Well,
so
and
much.
actually, if I could jump back in, speaking of Gigi's mom, Anita McBride is in the audience, and Anita just typed into our Q&A that the White House Historical Association has an app called the White House Experience that you can download, and it's very interactive. And I didn't know that. I'm very excited. I'm going to download that app when we get off this podcast. It sounds great. So I guess if you can't visit the White House in person, you can download the White House Historical Association's White House Experience app.
Yes.
So
Thank you. And just a couple other comments we got. Kenny Side says, "I've been wanting to study to be a teacher." So looks like you're already inspiring people personally. Where do I sign up to be a chief of staff? That sounds amazing. But yeah, we just want to, one quick question before we go. As we've mentioned, this book benefits the White House Historical Association. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about what that organization is and what it does.
Yes, so the White House Historical Association does a lot of the, there's events that they do with the White House, and they're very supportive of all things that go on in the White House. And they have, they make the White House Christmas ornaments that can be sold all year round, but a new one is made every year sequentially from the presidents. I'm not sure which one they're on right now, but my mom is also on the board of that organization as well. And they're, very dedicated to educating people and children, especially about the White House and what goes on. And so also through their app, they're doing a lot of interactive things to try to get the White House to be more accessible to people of all ages. So they do a lot of great work, celebrating the lives of presidents and first ladies, and as well, getting the White House to be more accessible to everybody.
And they have great Christmas ornaments.
Yes.
They have wonderful Christmas ornaments. Yeah.
That's great. If you didn't have a reason enough to buy the book, just because of how awesome the illustrations and story is, this is just like icing on the cake. So Gigi, I just want to thank you so much on behalf of Constituting America for being here and for opening up the White House to us and to all the people who read it. And to all of our viewers who stuck with us today, thank you so much for joining us. If you like hearing about the Constitution, as Aubry mentioned, we have constitutional chats on Tuesdays, and stay tuned for our next book club pick. But Gigi, thank you so much for being on here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. This is so wonderful. I've loved talking to all of you, and I just feel so honored to be here with you guys. So thank you.
Thank you. We're honored to have you.
Thanks.